Okay. Welcome to a Wednesday evening live stream. We're going to be talking maybe a little bit about Logic Pro's bugs and other things that are not working. But maybe even more important to me is to discuss while I'm doing actually a little bit of songwriting tonight. We're going to work on some stuff. And that's primarily because evening streams typically get a few less people. And that's okay. That's just the time I'm going to be doing them for a bit while my days are so crazy and busy. We're wrapping up our semester in about 2 weeks. And so the university's keeping me pretty busy. And then we'll be on summer break and can do a lot more during the day for a while. But it's been like 4 or 5 months since our last update in Logic. We got a 10.8.1, and right before that we got a 10.8, and that was really the mastering assistant and some other odds and ends, if you remember. So we got a number of things that came, 5-6 months ago. So we got the mastering assistant and sample alchemy, beat breaker, some 32-bit float stuff, some sample packs, some sample alchemy packs, I should say. So we got a bunch of stuff, 10.8, and then in grand Apple fashion, we've had pretty much nothing for months and months now. And this is the same cycle we go through every year. And we can complain about it all we want. I'm sure there's, if not a small update, or if not a big update, then definitely a small update coming around the corner here at any moment. And so we're kind of thinking that we just had some OS 10 updates, some small ones. The operating systems from all of our devices updating slowly. But it's beginning to feel sometimes like Apple and the Logic team want to just go to that, once a year kind of update for everything, which is good and bad, right? Good because it means stability. And I know that there's other software that they release an update every little bit, and then they have to release another one to fix that one. And it's like they're changing features, and it's great. I think some people really like the essence of feature changing and always wanting something new, the new thing, right? And so is that really what we want for Logic? I don't know. I'm kind of happy that for the most part we end up having stable time, and I say stable lightly, loosely, because everyone has their favorite bugs to hate. And so that's what we're hoping to get out today. Start the conversation a little bit. If you're watching this later, then put in the chat or in the comments your favorite bugs to hate, because that's what we want to maybe see if you're having issues, what those are, and if there's workarounds, then great. Maybe people can give you some feedback on how to make things work. But for me, right this moment, there's very few things that are like massively wrong. In fact, I'm just really constantly surprised at how good so many of the things are working right this moment. Knock on wood. I didn't update my operating system when they just had that little snafu with the iLock stuff, and then they were able to fix it in iLock. It was like a team effort to kind of get that fixed. But anyway, I digress a little bit. We don't have a large crowd right this second. I'm going to start maybe doing a little bit of music and see if people jump on. If you're watching, and I'll say this a few times, but make sure if you want to join in with the bug type conversation, that you do that in the chat so that way we can see what you're thinking. But I am going to use a little bit of sculpture for a few minutes because I'm in a sculpture mood lately. It's one of those instruments that certainly worth the price of admission for Logic. I'm using this double bass patch. I've changed it a little bit. I added a little bit of jitter. Jitter is one of my favorite features on this thing. In fact, it's a little randomizer that you can send to different targets at a specific rate and amount. I added a little bit to the media loss to give it a little bit of variety. And of course the arpeggiator. Man, I like that sound, but I want to change it a little bit, I think. What do we want to do? Okay, so here's one thing that I hope that they finally finish in terms of, it's not a bug at all, but it's certainly an in progress thing. We still have a number of effects processors that are in the old scheme still and have not great graphics and haven't been updated in terms of functionality in a long time. Stereo spread, I still like it, but it's one of those ones that it's elegant in its simplicity, meaning it's really not a complicated thing to spread things out in the stereo field. If you look at this red line in the middle represents center panning. Everything above is left and everything below is right. And then from left to right are all the frequencies. And so low frequencies on the left, high frequencies on the right, and then they just pan them out to different sides. It's really, really a cool way to do it if you don't care about where things get put in the stereo image. I mean, in terms of, it's a little arbitrary with the frequency splits. So if I play something up high or low, the fundamentals could be drastically different place, but it does add some interest in terms of the stereo imaging. And potentially some phasing issues. And so that's one of the things with this. I'm always probably, especially if it's a prominent instrument, if it's just one thing in the whole scope of things, maybe it doesn't matter as much, but let's open up our multimeter for a minute and check our correlation. We're the positive. If I flip the upper to the default, it almost instantly goes down to the negative for correlation. Ooh, that's cool. close that for now. Oof, sculpture is amazing. Let's add a little bit of reverb to this. Bus 1, stereo bus, okay, add. I'm really into chromaverb right now for most simple things. I don't feel like the defaults are super terrific, but like if you're doing one of these and you just take off a little bit of the highs and lows, it's like EQ, especially in the low frequencies, can be so damaging, but on a reverb, I don't think it's a big deal. Maybe widen it out a little bit there. Let's actually look at sculpture, make sure, let's see, that we're just in the basic render. I'm going to do the high definition render. It always starts, I think, for the most part, in the basic render mode. This isn't exactly a quality thing, but it is changing the way that the voices and the harmonics react. It's like that's a little fuzzy for me. But you don't always want it in high definition, the high mode, but certainly I find myself going there more and more. Let's see. Yeah, it didn't take me there with the help, but we're going to go just look that up real quick because it's like I can't remember exactly what that does. Sculpture. Extended parameters. So the basic sets a maximum of 100 elements with some internal headroom from extreme key scaling. Maximum of 1,000 elements. So this is with the resolution slider coupled with pitch stiffness. And then the high definition, maximum of 1,000 elements. Also turn on internal 2x oversampling. So the frequency, I was right about the frequency, but I didn't remember that it was the just oversampling. Let's do that and then crank up. leave that. Let's record something here. One, turn on click track. Okay, something simple, probably just classic quantize that. Okay. I started on bar 2 just so I didn't have to always worry about restarting at the very beginning. Cool, I like that. Okay, I'm just dinking around with the actual thing. I'm going to play the actual chords here in any second. But I want to lock in that sound, which is getting pretty close. Oof. Got distracted turning on the click track. Let's do that again. Like aftertouch, makes me think of afterburn. Obviously MPE stuff with multi-timbral aftertouch would be cooler, but on my big keyboard it's one for all, so you don't get individual note aftertouch, but that's still cool. Let's see, what was, looks like hit that right after, before, I guess. And thanks for watching, Rob Mullins. I am tracking your comments, but just watching for a moment. Let's see. I'm going to change the amplitude envelope ever so much so the synth is a little softer at the beginning, and the filter envelope too. Let's do a little drums. What do we got here? Let's see. I like the really hard edge there. Oh my gosh. I'm definitely tracking the conversation in the chat now. Retro synth is one of the best basic synths ever made. It's awesome. So we're having a conversation about synths and whatnot. And Rob, let me read your comment about the last thing you said. A lot of options. You reach for the ES1 for bass. So the ES1, this thing. Some context about the ES1. Oh man, this was back in the day. Because when I was at the university, this was considered one of the revolutionary synthesizers in terms of digital software synths. That for the first time we were beginning to have synthesizers that could compete with things. But the tech inside this thing is, it's been a few minutes since I was in school. That's almost 25 years now. And this thing hasn't changed ever since then. And even the ES2, which came out and does some really cool things. You can see it has the same old interface. It's not great graphics, but it has the matrix section, which is something that is still super powerful if you know how to use it. And it has the 3 oscillators, has the filters, which I think actually does something that is really cool. You can switch it between parallel and series and come up with some amazing sounds. But this thing does vector synthesis, which is still rare among many synthesizers. And so with the vector option, you can create some really nice motion stuff. But in terms of if I want a sound that's, well, for a few things, if I want to get something that I might want with like my Model D or like a mini Moog type sound, I'm going for this thing instantly, even though it's just a 2 oscillator, has the LFO, which gives you the kind of the essence of the mini Moog. Has the sync option, which then takes us into the realm of like the Oberheim stuff. But then it has the table synthesizer, so it has the wavetable stuff and the frequency modulation stuff, which is like a DX7 Junior. It doesn't have all the algorithms, but it has basic frequency modulation. So this thing all of a sudden becomes one of the deepest synths because it has 4 of the things done really well that we have a hard time doing, say, in Alchemy or Sculpture or the ES1 and ES2, even though those have the tech. We're not getting into the FM or the wavetable stuff on any of those. So don't get me wrong, though. ES1, I have like a really fond place in my heart for that because it was like one of the first software synths I ever used. And you can still do things with it that sound good. There's nothing wrong with this synth at all. But there's a certain amount of things you can do with it, and then a lot of stuff that you can't do with it, I guess is what I mean. So if you're looking for different colors in your palette, then this thing is one, but it's certainly not all of them. Man, the chat is blowing up. I love this. I love that we have some people on here on a Wednesday night or Thursday morning if you're someplace else. Let me see. I'm looking down to see what else I'm missing here because I'm just yapping. Dr. Voodoo, always a pleasure to have you on the stream. I got nothing but love for ES1 and ES2, but lately I go to basses, my bass sounds in the retro synth because it just, so what I was doing there. Let me go back in here for 1 second to ES1. I want to see if I can do it. There's a filter boost. I don't know. That's been a long time. Yeah, I was looking to see if I could do unison mode on here, and I don't know if I can. I know we have a number of voices, and it has a chorus, which is great. But I don't think there's a unison mode on here. The ES2 has a unison mode. So you can put it in unison and fly up to 16 voices simultaneously, make like a mega synth. And then you can also, with that, do the detune option, and that'll detune all. So I could get kind of what I was looking at with the retro just now. So with the retro synth that I'm using, I put it into, let me make this bigger. So I did the unison with 8 voices, so it's copying it 8 times. Voice detune up a little bit more than normal, plus a stereo spread. But I'm just using it down in the lower range. And to get that sound as easily as that, that's an asset that all I'm doing from the default is changing the unison and the detune, and then I changed a little bit with the filter envelope timing and the amplitude timing. So that took me like 3 little knobs to do. That's why I like it, is because I can get to some of those sounds that I like easier than on the other ones. I guess that's maybe the whole point. But now we have to do some ES1 in here. I mean, that is the sound of ES1. Let's see, what do I want? Nothing wrong with that sound. That has so many similar sounds to like the, what is that synth and Reason? This, oh my gosh, it's not in my brain right now. Oof, some of those are cool. Let's do a little sneaky. Sorry if any of these are loud. I forgot that this could do sample and hold. You'd be surprised at how many modern synths don't have that built in. Let's turn it down a little bit more. That's kind of a cool sound. Let's see if I can work that in somehow with like a little bit of an arpeggiator. Come on. I'm ignoring everybody in the chat for a minute. We'll leave it there. Ooh, what I should do, let me think about this for a second. We'll do a little bit of a note repeater for this. We'll do a ramp down. Faster though. Ooh, too much fun. Having too much fun. Yeah, we'll do something simple. I don't know. Not sure I'm feeling the arpeggiator on that either. Let's switch. Come on, let's do. Give me my voices instead of mono mode. I'm having too much. I think I need to mangle it up a little bit. Let's see. We're going to use... That's the problem. I'm using the ES1 thinking, ooh, it's like I wish I could easily do something. See, and then I reach for something like step effects and change the whole sound, and I'm happy with it. That's ES1. I love it, but it's not, doesn't speak to me like that. Let's see. Undo that. I think I'll stay lower. Could be a part right in there. And of course, it doesn't have aftertouch either. Not that everything has to have aftertouch, but retro does. I guess that was my point. Oof. Let's quantize that for a minute so I don't lose all my notes when I trim it. Okay, cool. Okay, let me catch up. Nick B Design says Bit Crusher. That would actually be cool on that too. And I think, ooh, does the step have a Bit Crusher? I don't, distortion, filter. This does have a Bit Crusher in the filter section, but I'm using that already in this one, so I'm not going to switch it. But let's do that. Let's do a little bit of touch automation. Let's put it in read mode for a second. So I start it right there. Okay. Touch automation's funky if you start messing with things early. Loser Dubs Winning Club. There haven't been any new stock plugins since 10.8, which introduced a couple new stock plugs, but we haven't had any new of late. There could be some rumors floating around, which I will neither confirm nor deny. Because I can't. But we do have, for instance, Sample Alchemy, which I love this thing, although I haven't really gotten into using it as much. Because it's really designed for the touch interface. I mean, it's so good on the iPad. I just really haven't gotten into it on the Mac version. But it's cool. And we have... So, Sample Alchemy just literally makes Logic the best sample software ever made. I know Ableton, I have a lot of students who are into Ableton. I've been into Ableton at different times. I've made courses for companies on Ableton a number of years ago now. I love Ableton. Ableton's great. There's absolutely nothing wrong with Ableton. And it does sampling stuff really well. But if you were to stack up all of the sampling features in Ableton versus all of the sampling features in Logic, I think right now, even with Ableton 12 that just came out, that Logic still wins overall. Because we have Sample Alchemy, we have Alchemy, which does things that other sample manglers just dream about. We have the Sampler, which is like a version of the EXS24 on steroids times 1,000. We have the Quick Sampler and we have the Auto Sampler. And all of those things working together with all of the other tools that Logic has, the way it's integrated with Flex and all of that stuff, just make Logic so good with all of this. And so the other thing, if you're just hearing Loser Dubs Winning Club, then you probably haven't seen yet either the other one that's interesting, which is the Beat Breaker. Hopefully everyone else has seen this. Again, another one. This one actually is better on the desktop, or just as good on the desktop as it is inside of the iPad version. But this one allows us to do so many cool things with our rhythm-based things. I love this thing very much. So, I'm trying to think, the scratch up. So this is, I only really use Beat Breaker in situations where I'm repurposing Apple loops or other loops. So if I'm programming my own things, then I don't really need it as much. I don't use it as much. But if I'm pulling out some like old and dusty Apple loops that aren't so great, that's a way to revitalize them in like a short amount of time. And so, as an example of that, say we're just over here, we're like, okay, let's do some all drums. And I mean, it can be any, I don't know how well a 12/8 jazz, I don't know how well this is going to work in this particular situation, but let's loop that out and let's load up the beat breaker, and we'll do one of like the stutter or the reorder. Complex arrangement maybe. Doesn't really work with the 12/8 feel, but you can do a lot of cool stuff with that, and it revitalizes and mangles and changes things around. So that's really cool. Let's see. Catching up on comments. Dr. Voodoo says Beat Breaker is basically an FL Studio Gross Beat clone, and I agree. And just like I love the Gross Beat in FL Studio, I think they're both really cool. But there's only a certain amount of times I'm going to use them in certain circumstances. They're not a tool that's like a keyboard or a synth that I can use and get a lot out of. It's like it has to be lined up just right to use it. And then we're talking about computers, but I don't want to talk about that. That's sweet, but electrics can kind of do that. Cool. So keep up conversations. I'm going to do a little bit more songwriting. I'm going to go for another like 10 or 15 minutes probably. And I don't actually really like the chord progression I've got going on here very much. It's a little too obvious, a little too predictable. Not feeling that part of it that much. I wonder, though, if there's a way to kind of salvage some of these textures. Let's keep it simpler. Let's maybe go to a minor key. Actually, I was in a minor key, actually. Kind of. So let's start this process over, keeping the same textures for a minute. And actually, before I do that, I'm going to turn on the metronome so I keep track of the beat. got that figured out. Let's do it again. Oh, maybe I should go down to the F. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so I like that first half. Let me do quick quantize, stretch that in. Oh man, we're right down to there, and then we'll loop it once. Yeah. Okay, let's try that. Oh, wrong note, first note. Let's see if we like that at all. I like the progression better than I did in the first part that I had. Okay. Smart quantize this one, and then we'll do eighth notes. What is happening with that? There's some sort of... Got something... Note velocity. Ugh, there's nothing. Sustain. I don't want sustain, so let's just pull it out. Ugh, my keyboard is sticking. I'm going to restart it real quick. So Rob is asking about the difference between classic quantize and smart quantize. And they're almost the same, but it never, with the smart quantize, it doesn't do, like if you hold a chord, it like plays the chord more like a piano player would do it. I will zoom in for a second and let you see that. Well, actually, I can't with that one. But it'll never do like a full simultaneity of a chord exactly on it. If anytime that the notes are all going to be lined up vertically, it'll do a little bit of like a little roll of them to make it sound more human. That's the main difference as far as I remember. So it's good when I'm doing certain things to keep things not quite so square and robotic. Okay. Now I just gotta remember the chords. 2, 3, 4. Actually, let's just start this halfway through. that's kind of cool. I like that. That's not what I wanted. Okay, let's do this. Sequencer. Ooh, that's a little excessive. Let's do 2 of those. Come on, give me. Oh. Come on. There we go. I'm going to change the reverb. Something synth related. That's better. Ugh, too much. Too loud, everything. I don't know. Maybe. Not feeling that sound. Let's go back to something warmer, I think. Not feeling that either. Do 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 do. Yeah, I think we're gonna pull the plug on this one for the night. Oof. Okay, we've been going for just over an hour. We're going to pull the plug. It was awesome to have so many people commenting and participating. What a great group. Look for more streams. We're going to be doing more, but I think hopefully in the next week or two, we're getting even just a small update to squash some of the bugs and add even more features and things. So thanks for joining, and check back. We'll do another one of these soon.